What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So over the last several years, Sony has been working to quietly build up their PlayStation Now platform as they continue to add more and more games to the service, but there has been one issue. They don't have any PS5 specific titles on there. Well, it looks like that could be changing here pretty soon after a new patent was discovered online, and we're gonna go over that one here today. Also, we're gonna be talking about a big sale heading to Nintendo Switch eShop as we roll along into Tokyo Game Show. And we're going to be going over a game that is finally making its way into Xbox Game Pass, even though it should have been there a while ago. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with Xbox Live Games with Gold for the month of October. Let's head over here. This posts up on news.xbox.com. They have a nice little card showing off the 4 different titles that will be heading to the service starting in October. And we'll start with Arrow, that is available October 1st to the 31st. Hover, that's available October 16th to November 15th. Castlevania Harmony of Despair, that is available October 1st to October 15th. And then Resident Evil Code Veronica X, that is available October 16th to the 31st. Looking up and down the list here, no massive heavy hitters, nothing like that really jumps off the web page there. I will say Castlevania Harmony of Despair and Resident Evil Code Veronica X, those are good titles to certainly claim. Castlevania is kind of cool because it has like 6-player co-op from what I remember. Hover is like this parkour style game, and I'm honestly not that familiar with Arrow. So while it's certainly not like an overwhelming month, it's at least worth signing in to claim these games because you already pay for the service. And we've talked about this before. Microsoft's main focus is on Xbox Game Pass, and at times you can see that this is sort of a second thought for them. But like I said, worth signing in, certainly worth grabbing and maybe even checking out Castlevania and then Resident Evil. Also, Super Nintendo World in Japan has been rolling along, and now it looks like that rumored expansion is happening. We can see this press release that was posted up by Nintendo where they say Super Nintendo World Expansion World's first Donkey Kong themed area set to open in 2024. They go on to say the area will feature a roller coaster, interactive experiences, and themed merchandise and food. Guests will be able to take a walk on the wild side through the lush jungles where Donkey Kong and his friends live. The new area is set to open in 2024, and they have kind of a bird's eye view here with some promotional work that they have. And look, this makes a lot of sense as it's clear they were going to continue building off of it, and I guess it's working out for them right now. I know travel, obviously, to Japan and back is kind of tough, but from what I've seen online for YouTube and people are walking around checking out everything, it looks like a ton of fun. Like you would have a blast there at Super Nintendo World, and I like the idea of them continuing to build onto it. It makes sense for Donkey Kong to be next because we started with Mario and Donkey Kong, but then what will we have after that? Maybe The Legend of Zelda. That would be massive online if like that got announced. And I mean, we're talking 2024 for DK, so could be a while before we hear about another expansion. I think The Legend of Zelda, being able to walk into a theme park that's based around that series would be incredible. So here's hoping that's what's next, but at least from what they're showing here with the Donkey Kong expansion, looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. And for the most part, until they start opening these theme parks in the US, I'll just kind of be enjoying it, I guess, through the lens of YouTube as people take videos and post them up. Oh, and we did get confirmation for when the open beta will take place for Battlefield 2042. It was unfortunately delayed about a month into November, but we'll be able to try this game out here in a couple of weeks. We can see this tweet that they put out confirming the date, and we also have the times. Now, starting October 8th, this will be for Xbox One, Xbox Series X, S, PS4, PS5, and PC, 3 a.m. Eastern time, and it's going to run until sometime on October 10th. Now, if you're an EA Play member or a pre-order customer, you'll have a 48-hour head start on October 6th, with preloading being available on October 5th. And it's good that we'll at least get a chance to try the game out despite it being delayed, and it'll give them a chance to stress their servers, because from what they were showing, this does look like a very ambitious multiplayer game. Tons of players on the same map, and they have dynamic weather and all kinds of stuff happening. So I'm excited to try it out in this open beta, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it on the podcast later on. And guys, with some some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with this big Nintendo Switch eShop sale that'll be happening through Tokyo Game Show, which is coming up here pretty quick, actually, in a couple of days. We can head over here to the Nintendo Deals page that will also be linked down below in the sources if you want to go check it out for yourself. We can see this is the Square Enix Tokyo Game Show promotion. Now, it did start on the 28th, and it'll be running until the 4th of October. So basically, yeah, through Tokyo Game Show. And we can take a look at some of the deals here, which, I mean, starts right there. Balan Wonderworld, that is half off. It's down to $20. So just in case Sean wants to keep that physical copy sealed, because you never know, this could end up being one of the rare games, you know, in the Switch library 20 years from now. We can pick it up digitally there for when Metroid Dread sells 3 million copies. You know, they also have a promotion up here for Metroid Dread. Looks like you get a full pin set with Metroid Dread at GameStop and some free decals at Best Buy, just in case you need another copy of Metroid Dread. Just you know, pointing that out there for you. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, Everybody, that's down to $16. I like that these collections see these kind of discounts because obviously you're getting a lot for the money just right off the bat, but then they're also cutting it down. Like Collection of Mana being $20 is great. Collection Final Fantasy Legend that being down to $15. They have several of the classic Dragon Quest games marked down as well. Then we have Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition down to $12. And then we have all of the like the classic Final Fantasy games from the PS1 era marked down, with Final Fantasy 9 cut in half down to just over $10. Final Fantasy 7 down to $8. And then 8 Remastered down to $10. I Am Setsuna is marked down to $20. Then we have Legend of Mana down to $22.50 there. Lost Sphere all the way down to $20. And Ononaki, which I've meant to check out, I mean, that's $25. That's not bad. Neo The World Ends With You also saw a nice discount here down to $42. Star Ocean First Departure are certainly worth checking out at $10.50. Trials of Mana being cut in half down to $24.99. And then World of Final Fantasy Maxima is a pretty cool game, and at $16, I think it's worth it. And the nice thing around a lot of these titles from Square Enix is they take a lot of time to beat, so you'll certainly get your money's worth out of several of these RPGs. And I'm wondering if we'll see more sales go live as we head towards Tokyo Game Show in a couple of days. Certainly keep your eye on this Nintendo Deals page, as they should be going live, if they are planning to do them, here pretty soon. Next up, let's talk about Sony and PlayStation Now. Now, Sony's been they've been a bit more careful around the idea of a big subscription service where you just go on there and you just claim games and play them as you want, especially as games come out like Microsoft, where they're just dropping their first-party titles on there the same day they release. Sony appears to be trying to build up a library of, I guess, older titles as they go along, and also giving you the ability to stream these games on your PC, but you can download these to your PS5 and play them natively. The only problem is it's been all PS4 titles like going forward here. We haven't had PS5 games being dropped on PlayStation Now, and that's been one of the biggest criticisms, because even if a PS5 version of that title exists, they just dropped the PS4 version on the service. Well, it does look like they are going to be changing that here pretty soon, because a new patent was spotted, this by DualShockers, which you can see the patent here, and it's described as the ultra high-speed, low-latency network storage, reveals the ongoing work to enable streaming for PS5 games on PlayStation Now. The patent is specifically about using multiple NVMe drives, the kind of storage drive used in the PS5, networked together for the purpose of streaming games. In fact, if you look at the applicants, it's Sony Interactive Entertainment. So yeah, it does appear that they are essentially working to make PS5 games function through PlayStation Now. And a lot of this has to do with them just getting it to stream correctly, as millions of people potentially attempt to access these servers to play these PS5 titles. And yeah, a lot of it's coming down to the NVMe storage, as that's what's being used and leveraged in that PS5. So they appear to have it set up for redundancy across multiple drives, just to make sure there's no failure while you are playing any of these PS5 specific titles. And I like the idea of them figuring this out, because there are a few ways you can look at this, as we see Microsoft even go as far as to use game streaming in order to make cross-gen a bit easier. Like the Xbox One, the VCR, looks like it's going to be able to stream Xbox Series X games. And while I don't think that's the ideal situation to play these games, it's at least a way to play these games if you cannot get a Series X or a Series S at this time. You still wouldn't be left behind for, say, Fable or Perfect Dark. You would just be streaming them through your network to your Xbox One. And also the big thing to keep in mind is you don't just stream games on PlayStation Now. It's something people still have a hard time with. They believe that it is just a streaming service and that's it. You can download I'd say 70% of the games. The ones you can't download are pretty much the PS3 titles, as Sony didn't really ever work out like native emulation or backwards compatibility on the PlayStation 4, therefore the PS5 for it. Maybe they will someday and you can go in and hit download on a PS3 game like Metal Gear Solid 4. That would be incredible, by the way, but for now it's streaming there. However, other games like PS2, now you just download them and play them right off your PS5. That's the biggest thing I would like to see here as a PlayStation Now subscriber, is if a PS5 game is available on that service, I can stream or just download it and not have to worry about, oh, it's just the PS4 version, because they're not adding PS5 games to this service. So the patent was actually filed earlier this year, and it was published just a couple of weeks ago, which does lead everyone to believe that we are heading towards an announcement that PS5 titles will start to be made available for PlayStation Now, and that's great for the service overall. Next up, let's talk about Xbox Game Pass, as a big title has been announced to be heading to the service starting tomorrow. And it's one that really should have gone there months ago. I mean, really, the game struggled quite a bit. Square, I mean, they were pretty transparent that it has not met their expectations in terms of sales and revenue, because you have to figure, if you're working on Marvel's The Avengers, it's probably going to cost you quite a bit of money in order to do that. And we can head over here. This posted up on news.xbox.com. Xbox Game Pass members assemble. Marvel's Avengers coming September 30th. And the biggest part about this, it's coming to Xbox, but it's also coming to Xbox Game Pass for PC. That's a question people ask. Is it also coming to PC? Yes, it will be. And it's going to be heading to the cloud, this all being September 30th. And on top of that, they do explain here that all of their post-launch heroes and missions will be available. This includes 4 story campaigns that showcase one or more heroes' unique abilities, as well as our Avengers initiative. And they go on a bit further here to explain that Xbox Game Pass members will also have immediate access to their new War for Wakanda expansion that features the new playable hero, Black Panther, and hours of new multiplayer and story content. They also say beyond this expansion, Marvel's Avengers is an evolving game with ongoing updates that add new playable heroes, missions, villains, campaigns, and events, and Xbox Game Pass members will get to experience all of it. If you're gaming on Xbox Series X, S, you'll get to play the optimized version of Marvel's Avengers, take advantage of faster load times and higher frame rates, resulting in a smoother gameplay experience. And this is what I mean when we just talked about PlayStation Now as an example. When a game would go there, it would just be the PS4 version. This is supporting smart delivery, so no matter what platform you're on, it'll be able to detect what system you're using, whether it's an Xbox One or an Xbox Series, and it will then smart deliver the right version to your platform. See, because Marvel's Avengers has been on PlayStation Now for a bit, but it's just been the PlayStation 4 version. There's no PS5 version there to take advantage of the extra hardware. This is big for Square, really, because I kind of wonder if this is a way for them to kind of get out of a bit of a jam here, as I don't think they really made the money back for Avengers. This is something Microsoft probably had to pay quite a bit of money to make happen. So it works for Microsoft because now they can put like all of these Marvel characters, this Avengers game, front and center, even though, look, a lot of us look at that and say, yeah, it's not a great game, but it's on Game Pass, so maybe I'll download it and try it out just to see, because maybe you skipped past it waiting for a sale. Well, if you're someone subscribed to Game Pass, you just go in and download it. So Square should see at least a spike in overall active users, and they got a check from Microsoft, and Microsoft gets something they can work to promote their service further with. And it's being speculated as to why this didn't happen sooner. I noticed over on Forbes that Paul Tassi mentioned that it appeared Sony had like a 1-year deal, or at least they're kind of matching up the time frame here as to when this announcement happened. So yeah, maybe Sony had some stuff locked up. They're still waiting for Spider-Man, which Spider-Man isn't going to the Xbox version. We already know that. But the idea that going forward, I guess future expansions will just kind of go into the Game Pass version of Marvel's Avengers, that's pretty big. So hey, you know what? I wasn't the biggest fan of Marvel's Avengers, but it's in Game Pass and you can try it out for yourself without having to go out and technically buy the game. So yeah, give it a shot, see what you think. And I haven't checked out this new expansion with Black Panther. maybe I will try it out here. I did pick it up on the PS5 because I was like, oh, Spider-Man will be here pretty soon. And, hey, maybe Spider-Man will be here pretty soon, I don't know. But at least I can check it out here on the Xbox if I want to try out the new expansion and see if it's at least gotten better since I played it last. Hey, let me know if you're still playing the Avengers game and if it has improved. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Amazon's latest game. They launched New World the other day, and I mean, it had a massive start, so much so that Amazon is having a hard time with their servers, which is weird because Amazon provides servers to companies. You figure if any company would be set up for launching a big-time MMO, it'd be Amazon. But no, they're actually having a hard time, and maybe they underestimated how many people would be trying to hit their servers all at once for launch, because we can see this over on IGN. New World is already Steam's most played game of 2021, despite server struggles. Now, they go on to detail some of the numbers. New World has just over 680,000 concurrent players and had an all-time peak of over 700,000 players, this being on Steam. The last, I believe, highest concurrent count game when it comes to players was Valheim, that being over 500,000 players. I've seen a lot of people talking about this game on Twitter. New World, I've looked at some trailers, some gameplay. You know how I feel about MMOs when they pop up, and I mentioned this before. I look at them and I go, wow, that looks like it'd be a lot of fun to try. But I know the amount of time that has to be invested, and I know I'm also playing other games now. So it's like there is a serious, I guess, just overall commitment they have to make when you jump into something like New World, or you want to go back to World of Warcraft or any other big-time MMO. But one thing's for sure, it seems to be pulling a lot of people in, stressing Amazon servers. And let me know down in the comments if you are playing New World, if you happen to get through some of these queues that have formed where people are waiting for a while just to get into the game, and if it is actually a solid MMO from Amazon, because Amazon needed a good release for a game after what happened with Crucible, and maybe this is it. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a little poll I posted up yesterday, where I asked, do you have a VR headset right now? 25% said yes, I have at least one headset. 35% said no, but I'm interested in one. 40% said no, I'm not interested in VR. You know what? That's better than I thought it would be. 60% either have a headset or are interested in getting one. And I do wonder if that's because we're seeing things like the Quest 2 exist that is a lower barrier of entry. You don't need a PC, you don't need a game console. You buy the headset with the controls for, I think they're like $300 now for the 128 gigabyte version, and you just use it. You play different games. Resident Evil 4, I'll admit, looks interesting. Like, that looks like it could be a lot of fun. I know it's Resident Evil 4, it's a phenomenal game as it is, but now they've kind of changed things up with that new perspective, some new interactivity with these puzzles, and even I'm sitting here like, maybe I should get that Quest 2 and try it out. It's not out, like I said, till later in October, so maybe I'll see what some of the reviews are saying, but if they look good, yeah, I might be picking up a Quest 2 to check out Resident Evil 4 again. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Snickers saying, John, it's not like they're going to keep this X1 chip going until 2030, and Nintendo says, hold my beer. I do wonder how long Nintendo is going to keep this X1 going, because NVIDIA had to change just the fabrication on it to 16 nanometers from 20 because it's been such a success with the Switch. And I have to imagine NVIDIA is real happy because they're making a plenty of money. Like I said, they had to alter the fabrication probably because they're like, look, Nintendo, we don't want to keep doing 20 nanometer. We got to move on from this, but they seemed happy to do it. Like I said, the money is just rolling in for them, but I would like to assume that next year, end of next year, we'll be hearing at least rumblings of something new from Nintendo in terms of stronger hardware, whether that's a revision like a Pro or just a next-gen system. I do feel like we are starting to see the age of the Switch hardware play out in some of these titles. If it wasn't obvious in something like Age of Calamity, I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be obvious in something like Bayonetta 3. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, it really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here. Today was the big Switch eShop sale from Square Enix. Let some people know down below in the comments what you would be looking at, any suggestions you have from that sale. Also, what about that patent from Sony potentially looking to add PS5 titles to the PlayStation Now service? And finally, Marvel's The Avengers. Seemed obvious that it should, but it is going to Game Pass tomorrow. Are you going to be trying it out for the first time? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.